Hunt, Horrors of the Gilded Age, was the first game developed by Crytek USA, made up of developers who hailed from the Darksiders series but were forced to disband due to financial difficulties. Though they tried to reacquire the Darksiders IP, it was taken instead by Nordic, publishers of many well-known titles like Dawn of War and Gothic. Thus, without access to their original breadwinner, they decided to get creative and go in a direction nobody expected. In 2014, Horrors of the Gilded Age was shown to the world, and set, well, in the Gilded Age, a time period of rapid industrialization, robber barons, and the rise of some names that still echo to this day, such as Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan. A truly fundamental and often overlooked part of American history, it was planned to be a free-to-play third-person shooter, AAA quality, sustained by cosmetic purchases, with tons of unique enemies and 4-player co-op being a main focus. A truly unique goal to be sure. But keep in mind, I said was set. Things didn't work out with Crytek USA, mainly due to many of the staff leaving because of late wage payments, something very important to developers who already lost a job. And those who left would go on to make their ambitions realized in a different series, the Remnant series Souls-like games, which kept the third-person focus and some Western aesthetics. But that, my friends, is a story for a different day. And for those parents or non-gamers watching, when I say Crytek USA, that isn't a team by itself. A company can be based in one country, but have teams all over the world, which is why the company name is followed by the country the workers are set in. This is important for the next part. At the same time Crytek USA was relegated to nothing more than a support studio, Crytek UK was shut down with the release and failure of Homefront, and development of Hunt was sent to their Frankfurt, Germany team. A closed beta was cancelled, and Hunt would disappear into the dark for 4 years, only to re-emerge at Gamescom 2018 with a new name, Hunt Showdown. From then on, it would release on PC in 2018, Xbox in 2019, and PlayStation a year later. A television series was also announced, but seems to have disappeared without a trace. Given this very rocky development cycle, it's a wonder that Hunt even released at all, much less to a very warm reception. But it has something to offer that other games didn't. Wild West games themselves are very rare, and I can only remember 5 off the top of my head that are any good. An extraction shooter back when Hunt released was also rare, with the dominant genre being battle royales, and Fortnite leading the charge. And even today, successful extraction shooters are still rare to see. And the gameplay itself stood out, with guns having recoil and high damage, where good movement and attrition could win you a match against better players, and bosses in lore that are at times horrifying, and downright goofy. It has paid off very well, with player count almost never dipping below 2,000, and oftentimes hitting 30 or 40,000 player peaks. But Hunt has never been a game that likes to stay stagnant. And so, in early 2024, it rebranded itself Hunt Showdown 1896. With a new engine update, a new map, enemies, a very angry boss, and a new mode, it just won't stay dead, even 6 years after its initial release. But new doesn't always mean better, and a lot was lost in the process. But first, an overview. The backdrop is the Louisiana Bayou. Fuck, I can barely say that. And in the new map, Colorado. Corruption, pouring from rifts in reality, has taken over these places, with a strange sickness turning ordinary folks into zombies, and some very unfortunate men and women into giant husks of fat and muscle, guarded by poisonous slugs, capable of tearing a full-grown man in half. Others are split down the middle, hives jutting from their chests commanding thousands of bugs to fill you with poison when they scream. And every once in a while, you may see a naked man, skin turned to burning ember, with a mere cut turning their hot rage into very real bursts of flame. Standing above even them are the bosses. Some used to be people, twisted into monsters. Others are monsters brought back from the dead, and this one will probably give arachnophobes a heart attack. God, I hate spiders. Leading this hell on earth is the Sculptor, and the organization facing it, the AHA. Existing for hundreds of years and part of an organization that fights monsters all over the globe, the American Hunters Association collects information on the occult, and during these breaches, will hire and pay every manner of person who's willing to fight evil to go out there and close the rifts, and kill these bosses in hopes of stemming the corruption and the promise of nice stacks of cash. But greed and corruption, combined with lawlessness, means your fellow hunters can be greater enemies than the corrupted. These hunters are protected by being injected with the blood of a man named Mr. Finch, allowing them to see and close these rifts, as well as take damage few others could survive. Why doesn't the army go in? Because normal people can be infected, often against their will, and every dead soldier means another that follows the sculptor. Most of the hunters are outlaws, foreigners, and travelers following their own cause. People who are at the end of the day disposable and will not be missed. Living bullets in an endless war that no one will believe. The hunters are a strange bunch. You got everything from cultists trying to kill the bosses in order to take their place, several undead dudes, a nun spreading the Lord's name in 12-gauge, and every brand of outlaw, cowboy, and crazy person you could ever hope for. Some of these guys aren't even hunters with the association. They just showed up looking for a fight. Look, they even got Red Riding Hood up in here. And is that Ebenezer Scrooge? I don't know what the Muppets did to him in this world, but he sure isn't a bank owner anymore. And a grandma. I don't even know what to say, it's a literal grandma. But beyond that, in the main mode, Bounty Hunt, your objective is simple. Use your dark sight to find rifts, which after closing 3 lets you find the boss, which each map can have either 1 or up to 4. Each rift is usually in a compound guarded by the undead, who if you're not careful will rock your world. Find the boss, kill it, banish it, and then extract, all the while avoiding or defeating other players, getting lots of money and new weapons and tools to try out in the process. But it's everything that happens in between that makes a match interesting. I have negotiated retreats and let other teams live, been intense gunfights that last 20 minutes or more, and on occasion, sniped by a bush Wookiee. There is only so much money to go around, after all. This is accompanied by 2 other modes, Soul Survivor, which is a fairly unique take on a Battle Royale mode, with each player starting out with a random loadout, and then ending with the victor defending themselves against the other players, now armed with Darksight, which is essentially a wall hack you can summon at any time, though it's not pinpoint accurate and does have only a few seconds of use. The last one, added as of the new update, is Bounty Clash. Teams are put into a small arena, with the boss already dead, and a time limit of 15 minutes. You can extract without the bounty and money, of course, but the real draw is the near instant combat, and a mode that players with extra money can spend and lose very quickly. Think of it like gambling, minus the usual nice areas and escorts. It's also a great mode to practice your aiming skills. And now I can talk about the update properly. And, unfortunately, a lot of great stuff was removed, when frankly it wasn't necessary or even wanted. Every hunter, monster, weapon, and location had lore in a book that you would unlock by leveling them up just by playing the game. Often research notes or letters by hunters, it gave a great perspective into a unique world that helped you understand things just that much better, and gave lore geeks something to appreciate, like me. But it got whacked. Thankfully, some French folks came along, and the Black Room Agency is ready to assist you. Trust me, it gets dark. Like sentient ships eating people, to the moon actively joining the war against evil, to a land filled with eldritch horror as a giant slug kind of dark. Every word I just said is canon. 2 maps are gone, though they will probably come back at some point. Dessau and Lawson Delta, with one already being confirmed to be in the works. Weather events were also removed, such as rain, and the flashlight is gone. Why? And other stuff such as Tier 3 hunters and generators that could turn lights off and... The game looks great. No one can deny that. And if you do, please schedule an eye doctor's appointment. That said, I'm not sure the stuff removed in the new update is worth what they added in. Not at all. It's trimming the fat, but nobody was ever healthy if they are just skin and muscle. Bugs. A bane in real life, unless you're a weirdo. No offense, you entomologist guys. And in games. I'm happy to say there aren't too many bugs here, but the ones that are here are pretty egregious. Seeing my tool of boss deletion go invisible is funny. Seeing my mouse cursor not disappear and then crash my game is less so. For your own sake, don't inspect your ammo, or anything actually, before loading into a match. Trust me, it might save you $100 on modder. Many of these bugs are common enough that the subreddit has comments and posts explaining how to fix them, with some being as easy as hitting tab twice. What is worse though are the connection issues. Every few games the server crashes, and I've learned from older members of the community that this came with the new update. But here's the thing, it's hard for me to complain about these things when the developers are actively updating and changing the game. I suspect most of these bugs will be ironed out within the next few months, but no guarantees. Forget machine guns and AR-15s. You're going to fight hell with your grandpa's dirty old Winchester, and like it. Every weapon is based on a real-life one that existed during the end of the 1800s, and they function like it as well, with small amounts of ammo and awkward reloads. Some of them would make their mark in pulp culture by their service in World War I, and others are the workhorses of the Wild West, wielded by cowboys and outlaws. They also functioned by an old adage, the right tool for the right job. That silenced Winchester might not do much to a boss, but it'll let you take out hordes of zombies without fear of getting other hunters to crash your party. Likewise, this OSHA violation of a redneck project called a bomb lance has almost no range, limited ammo, and can struggle to hit a moving target. But it excels at taking down bosses and can save you valuable time. Each one has a niche and does its job well. Each one also has variations. Generally, these include a light version, which is just the gun without a stock, the extended ammo, the one with a suppressor, and lastly the one with a bayonet or sharpened buttstock, and the one with a scope. And you can only bring one type with you, so no gun with a suppressor, extended ammo, and a sharp buttstock together. Overall, this makes sure that no one can have a single overpowered gun in the mission. Each of your 2 slots must be equipped with what you plan to be doing well that mission, whether that is horde clear, boss deletion, or sending other players back to the menu. There is always something for the job. Sniper rifles must be overpowered then, right? Long range and plenty of damage do make them worthwhile, but there's a catch. Aiming in this game can be a bitch. Remember, you're playing as mostly people without proper military training. There's a lot of sway when aiming down sights compared to games like Call of Duty or its competitors, and it's even more noticeable when you're looking down a scope. There is a way to mitigate this, and now I have to talk about perks. Every hunter can have a series of perks equipped to fit your particular playstyle. These range from quite powerful, like the ability to pop inside enemies like Ant-Man could have done to Thanos, and to bring your allies back from the dead from a distance, to something more mundane like moving quietly through water and steadying your rifle when aiming. The more matches your hunter survives, the more you level up your hunter, and the more perks you can equip to be victorious. Every action you take has a sound assigned to it, and I'm happy to say it all sounds great, from the boom of a cap gun on steroids, to a zombie being introduced to redneck engineering. I don't think I've ever heard something that belongs to a Nerf gun. If you want to play this game properly though, you need a pair of headphones. Moving across the map without care can be dangerous, as getting close to, wait, I need a list for this, horses, birds, quails, branches, cows, pens of any kind, hive, glass, literally anything that can make noise can cause a ruckus that a team halfway across the map can hear. And anyone with a decent sense of hearing can easily figure out what direction and roughly how far away you are. This works both for and against you, and by the time you have a few hours in, it'll be second nature. I don't think I've seen a game that has this much going on around its sound design. Hunt also has a nice voice chat feature built right in, and can lead to hilarious moments when other players are trading insults during a firefight, to having a guy send me a friend request on Steam right after he domes me in the head. I have made several new friends this way. No, you cannot have them. And I have almost never seen any toxicity in a match. Maybe it's due to the audience it attracts, but I have never seen a teammate shit-talk someone for using a certain gun or strategy, and that can't be said for almost any co-op game. Let me regale you with a story. I once was in a team that took the compound with the boss, trying to find the last hunter with the bounty, only for another team who we ran off some time ago come storming back for vengeance after I knocked one of their players. One of them, a woman, said,
"Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die."
After my two teammates died, I ran like a little biatch, hoping to come back and revive them once the enemy team thought I was gone. The female player insulted my masculinity by using choice words before I died in a glorious last stand. And while it is a funny story for me to remember, I have about 6 others just as hilarious, if not more. And that's just what happens in this game. Okay, now that that's all out of the way, let's talk about the bad. DLCs is the way Hunt makes most of its money, with each character and skin pack costing around $10, with up to $20 for some. Now, sure, I don't think many of them look bad or out of place, except for this guy.
Yo.
What's up? What you doing, son?
And you can earn money in-game to buy some of these. But when someone who has 133 hours in-game has only been able to buy 2, it might have gone too far. If you want a skin, you're going to have to pay for it, with either time or your money. And that's on top of a $30 entry point. A tough sell with the way the world is right now. I can say that no weapons or equipment are locked behind your credit card info, looking at you, Warzone, so that's a plus. And next is there is no modding whatsoever. While I understand why they won't allow it, the store needs its daily tribute after all, it's a damn shame that custom servers can't be hosted. Fighting dual bosses while facing 40 zombies at the same time sounds like a great time to me. And that's part of the draw for other hardcore shooters like Squad and Insurgency, is the ability to install mods and face 180 enemies with 6 people while praying my PC doesn't catch on fire. And lastly, the live service aspect. Hunt is, at its core, Crytek's baby, and they aren't going to abandon it anytime soon, which means new skins, trailers, bosses, and modes. It's not at a breakneck pace, but it is often enough that every 2 months or so something new is there to try out. But it also means that I can't suggest any particular strategies or weapons, because one update can render shotguns from close range one-hit wombo combos to being unable to penetrate a light wooden door. Hunt is also in a strange position. It's not so hardcore it attracts the Tarkov audience, but it's also not nearly casual enough to attract kids and trolls, which for me is a perfect sweet spot, though I wish they added like gold bars or something you could loot. But beyond that, there are worries within the community that Hunt is going in a more mainstream direction. With the addition of Bounty Clash, which focuses near exclusively on PvP gameplay, the Ghost skin, which is a pretty clear reference to Ghostface for Halloween, and hiring several Call of Duty lead devs. Though that last part I've been unable to confirm, except for some information on some Reddit posts. On the bright side, you will always find a game. Hunt has a core and dedicated player base of around 2,000 players, but every update also has a habit of bringing in thousands more that stick around for a few months, but also a smaller amount who stick around for longer. And with matches that often have a maximum of 12 people, you will never hunt alone. And it has no competition, so if you want an extraction shooter set in the West with reactive gameplay and a gritty atmosphere, this is really your only option. Though Beautiful Light seems set on putting itself on the extraction shooter map, even though it's not set in the West, I have very high hopes for it. Oh, and the music rocks. Pretty much all of it is made by Port Sulphur, and they are almost all bangers. Honestly, I've even worked out to some of these songs, and they are all on YouTube if you want to give them a listen. I recommend you try Hunt Showdown if it's free for a weekend, or you have some extra cash to spare that you're not going to use gambling. The length of matches, along with the tutorial, means that you can't get a feeling for the game you can with others within Steam's 2-hour return window. Most of the time is spent in the lead up to the battle, the tracking, the sneaking, the hunt. But that means when things do kick off and you bag that sweet victory, it's a feeling that almost nothing on the market can compete against. If you like it, you're gonna love it. And if you don't, well, you're not. See ya around, folks, and stay cool. Oh, and right before I upload this video, Hunt had a Q&A with Post Malone. The Post Malone. Huh?